There's nothing worse than getting all ready for a game with your child and getting to the game, being excited to watch them, sitting amongst the parents, sitting amongst friends, and hearing somebody say something bad about your child or bad about the way that they're playing. And I think you need to take care with how you conduct yourself in the rink.
As an official on the ice, if you can do this, to be able to filter out what's behind the glass out of your mind and keep focused on the game at hand. Players are going to model the behavior that they see, whether it's from their parents, whether it's from their coach, or even the leadership within their own team. That's why picking captains and alternate captains is so important.
I have been called outright racist over plays. I was told to go home that I was worthless. This was all in one game. It was, and I was not the referee in charge, I was just the linesman. That game definitely got to me, especially because as we were leaving the ice, we had a crowd of parents that were just screaming insults and things at us. So those kind of moments, you just have to keep your head high and focus on getting the game done and getting it done right.
A parent, I coached his boy 2 years, 2 consecutive years, plus some spring hockey. It got to the point where he was threatening, I called and threatened, yes, physically. About 5 years later, I'm walking into a rink in a tournament, and he was there outside. I'm thinking, oh, this could end badly. He apologized, we shook hands. He told me he became everything that he dreaded about being a hockey parent, that he totally lost his perspective. It ended well, but it took 5 years. It was 5 years later.
I will admit that I certainly do homework on parents before we make our final selections on teams. It's something that I'd highly recommend to do. Maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong, but as hockey players come with some type of reputation usually, you need to check out what your parent group is as well. And I have made decisions based on a parent for sure.
All coaches have gotten the 8-paragraph email. In my early coaching day, we added a player late, and we had 7 defensemen, which kind of wasn't very a good situation. And this dad just kept going and going, and I don't think I handled it that great because I just sort of let him do his thing. Maybe I did handle it great because I just let him rant, and then that was it. I didn't even bother fighting it. So maybe I did handle that great, but at the time, looking back, I wish I would have just kind of told him, I wish I would have just walked away or just said give me relax or take 24 hours or whatever. I wish I would have said something like that looking back.
I'd probably say not to get worked up about irrelevant things, or maybe to put themselves in the player's shoes once in a while, because sometimes we do get overwhelmed, and I think it's hard for them to understand that.
Hockey at our age right now isn't really about winning. It's more about development for players, and winning's not going to be a big deal right now. It's more about developing, and not every player or not every child of yours is going to probably make it in the NHL.
Everyone's a human. Everyone makes a mistake. It doesn't give a parent a right to yell at a coach for not playing their kid or something. It's the same idea. You shouldn't be yelling at the coach if they're not playing your kids, so why would you yell at the ref if they missed a call? I've gone over to coaches and said, hey, I'm sorry, I messed that one up. That was on me. And all they can do is say, oh, okay, they understand that we're human, they're human, everyone makes mistakes, right? So
honestly, your screaming and yelling doesn't make an outcome on the game. It's just really, really unfortunate and annoying. At the end of the day, it's always just a game. You're just playing. The most important thing is to have fun. And no matter what level you're at, we understand the competition rises and so does the emotions. You just have to remember to always know the difference between emotion and abuse.
I might add a call because of a parent's reaction.
Officials are put in a unique scenario where they're professionals from day one, whether they're 12 years old, whether they're 30 years old. I think the important thing for people to realize is the human element of officiating and the human side of the officials themselves, and that they're people, they're participants, just like the players, the coaches are. A lot of them are players and coaches, and when you see the negativity coming from the stands, it's always good for the people in that position to keep in perspective that that official is somebody's daughter, or somebody's brother, or somebody's father. And when you can put the sort of human element to the face and look past just the uniform or the jersey or the role they're playing, it can help people take that quick step back and potentially check themselves and that type of thing.
I think the better the fans are, the better the game's going to be. So everything we can do to help fans enjoy the game and not get so wound up, and that's the best thing we can do for the game and the kids.
When you're yelling at one of the players on the ice, you're yelling at somebody's child. And potentially you're sitting next to that parent that can hear you talking bad about their child. And I can tell you there's nothing worse to go and watch your son play or your daughter play and have somebody put down the way they're playing when you know they're trying their best. You wouldn't do that anywhere else, and it shouldn't be okay in the arena. I think you always need to remember when you go out to watch one of these games that these are kids that you're watching, kids that are doing their best.
A lot of the times when parents talk about the other kids on the team in the stands, they seem to think that it's not going to leave the conversation between that person. But the reality of it is, word gets around and it goes as far as the dressing room. And when it goes into the dressing room and it's realized that your buddy's parent is talking about you or another player, it affects the chemistry between the teammates, and it affects the way the kids not only play on the ice, but the relationship they have with each other. And as a parent, that's pretty immature, and it really causes issues for your own kids more than it does for the kid you're talking about.
For more information on the Lessons from Behind the Glass video series, visit bchockey.net or lessonsfrombehindtheglass.com.